Hello, brothers and sisters. I wanted to do a video called Order Out of Chaos. Now, we know that one of the New World Order's terminology is order ab chaos, which means order out of chaos. And after doing research on the New World Order for several years now, and studying the things that God has put in my path to study, He brought me to some scriptures over the years that I wanted to share with you that directly correlate order ab chaos with what I'm about to read you from the scriptures. And I know that those of you who have studied this topic, this is simply a confirmation or rehashing of what you know, but I figured I would rehash it once again and bring it to your remembrance. In Revelation chapter 17, verse 18, well, first of all, let me state that in Revelation chapter 17, we know that this is speaking of the whore of Babylon, which we know is the city that reigns over the kings of the earth, which is the Vatican. So I want to start off in Revelation chapter 17, verse 18. And the woman which thou sawest is that great city which reigneth over the kings of the earth. Now we know that the city that reigns over the kings of the earth, that the angel shows John here, is the city that sits on 7 hills. That is Vatican City. It's in Rome. So right here we're talking about the woman, meaning the harlot church, that reigns over the kings of the earth, which is the Vatican, the harlot church, and a woman in Bible prophecy is likened to a church. I wanted to come over to, let me see, skip over to Revelation 18, starting in verse 23. And of course, Revelation 18 is dealing with the judgment of the whore, of the great harlot, which we know is the Vatican, sitting on 7 hills. And the light of a candle shall shine no more at all in thee. Now, this is God speaking to Vatican, the Vatican City. And the voice of the bridegroom and of the bride shall be heard no more at all in thee. For thy merchants were the great men of the earth, for by thy sorceries were all nations deceived. Now remember, God says those who practice the magic arts and sorceries will not inherit the kingdom of heaven. So it's saying here that by the Vatican's sorceries were all the nations deceived. And remember, God says He puts it into the king's hearts of the earth to hand over their power to the beast until His words be fulfilled. Now, this is the verse I wanted to focus on. I wanted to establish, first of all, what we're talking about is the harlot that rides the beast, the city on 7 hills, which is the Vatican in Rome, that rules over the kings of the earth. Verse 24 in chapter 18 of Revelation, and in her was found the blood of prophets and of saints and of all that were slain upon the earth. Notice that the whole world in verse 23 was deceived by the sorceries. All nations were deceived. In other words, all the kings of the earth were deceived by the Vatican's sorceries, by their witchcraft, by their cunning and sorceries in order to fall in line with this New World Order plan. God put it into the hearts of these kings to hand over their power to the Vatican. They don't know this, but God is doing this so that His glory can be displayed when He comes back on the day of the Lord. But in her, in the Vatican, in the harlot, was found the blood of prophets and of saints, and get this, and of all that were slain upon the earth. Now, when we go back to the statement, order ab chaos, order out of chaos, I believe this lines up with this right here. That by the sorceries of the Vatican, proclaiming that they can bring world peace, that they are the ones who will sit on Mount Zion and bring together this one world religion. Let's all get along. Let's all live in harmony. They'll be the ones to try and bring about a global economic system. They'll solve all the world's problems with the economy. All the solutions of the world will seem to have been found out of the chaos that has been created by the Vatican. The Vatican is creating the chaos through the kings of the earth. They're creating the chaos so they can appear to be the ones that are bringing order. In other words, in order to be the ones to be looked on by the world as the world's heroes and the world's rescuers, they have to create the right situation first. They have to create the right crisis, the right chaos, so that when they supposedly bring order, the world will look on the Antichrist, will look on the beast system and worship the Antichrist and worship this beast system. In her was found the blood of prophets and of saints and of all that were slain upon the earth. That's almost inconceivable that all of these, but it's true. What the scriptures are telling us here is that every war, all the way from the prophets to the crusades and the saints that were killed back in the medieval times by the papacy, and all the wars of all that were slain upon the earth. Think about World War I, World War II, all of these wars, the Holocaust, all of this, according to the scriptures, is attributed to the city that sits on 7 hills. Everyone that was killed in every war is attributed to the Vatican. And why? It's to bring order out of chaos. They want to create the wars, create the chaos, so that they can be seen as the ones to be the world's heroes. The world is right now divided up into 10 regions. And if you go to the United Nations website and look up their Millennium Development Agendas, you will see that the world, there, you might see some maps there where it shows the world has been divided up into 10 regions. We're now waiting for those 10 kings to be appointed over those 10 regions. Once that happens, this is the system that the final man of sin will be revealed from. That little horn of Daniel rises up out of the 10 nations, out of those 10 kings that he appoints as 10 kings. He will rise up from that. But I truly believe that this little horn of Daniel will come from the Vatican, that he will be a Pope of Rome. I truly believe this. And that they have created, ever since the prophets and the saints of old, and every war and all that were slain upon the earth, they've created these wars to create chaos. Their New World Order, chaos to bring order, order out of chaos. And if you go to Google and you type in order out of chaos, you'll find it is heavily used in Freemasonry too, that term. But the average citizen truly believes of this world that these wars are just created by simply religion not getting along with their fellow religion, or man not getting along with man. These wars are instigated behind the scenes by the Vatican, who rules over the kings of the earth, to create chaos so they can be seen as the world's saviors, so that the Antichrist can be seen as the Messiah of this world, as the God of this world. And of course, this has been Satan's plan from the beginning, even since the Tower of Babel, to unite the world under his system. And of course, God confused it back at the Tower of Babel because it wasn't the end time yet. It wasn't God's time for the mystery of God to be revealed. The mystery of God will be revealed, which is the church, and us being his temple at his coming, when he appears after the tribulation of those days. But here it says all that were slain upon the earth are attributed to the city of 7 hills, which is the Vatican in Rome. Order ab chaos, order out of chaos. They are deliberately, and have been deliberately, for thousands of years, the same Antichrist spirit, the same Babylonian spirit existed back in the prophets. Was at work in Jesus' day. Was at work in all the saints leading up to this generation, and is attributed to this day to the city of 7 hills, the revived Roman Empire. They are deliberately the workers of iniquity behind the scenes in the secret societies and in the governments of the world to create chaos so they can appear to be the ones to bring order. And in her, the city sitting on 7 hills, was all the slain found. I just thought this was an interesting topic to cover again and to establish and confirm. Thanks for listening today, and keep looking up. The Lord is coming soon.